Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 7 of Fair or Foul here on WTBU Sports. I'm Daniel Maltz.
I'm Ben Silver.
I'm Jacob Lintner.
We got the three familiar voices back here with you for our 7th episode, and let's dive right in. This is something that the baseball world has been waiting all of April to see, and today is Thursday, April 25th. Tomorrow, Friday, April 26th, will be the Major League debut of Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
So excited.
This man, son of the Hall of Fame outfielder Vladimir Guerrero Sr.
Not yet Hall of Fame.
Didn't Vlad get inducted in the... you're going to do that to me?
Yeah, I have to. I have to.
Wait. Vlad got inducted last July.
Didn't he?
Yeah,
Did
Vlad
he?
got inducted.
Maybe I'm the stupid.
Vlad,
maybe I'm the stupid. Let's see.
Vlad got inducted.
Yeah, you're right.
July.
You're right. That's
I thought I couldn't remember what period of the year it was. I was like, did he? Get
No,
elected
you're totally right.
Yet?
You are totally right, Mo.
So
cool.
Vlad Jr., son of the now confirmed Hall of Fame Vladimir Guerrero
officially
Sr.,
confirmed by the Fair or Foul podcast.
minor league star, hitting 400 in his final full season, raking this year. He is supposed to be the best young hitter that this game has seen in generations, and he's finally here. It's weird to say finally because he's only 20. He's 20, but we've been talking about him for 2 years since he was hitting 300 in A-ball, and everybody's saying, oh, wait till you see Vlad Jr. He is going to be the best, and now he's here.
All right, Multi, what do you, and Jacob as well, I don't know why I didn't ask both of you.
Okay.
What do you guys think are the odds that you see a comparable hitter to Mike Trout? I know that's like the long bomb.
Yeah.
A long bomb possibility, but what do you guys think?
I think maybe even a little bit more power than Trout. We'll give him some time, of course, but this kid, he hasn't played at all this season, and in preseason, we knew it was going to be a little while. I'm just looking. I have him in one of my fantasy baseball leagues on Yahoo, and he was preseason ranked number 50 as a prospect. He was ranked number 50 overall.
Not one game in the major leagues.
Not one game, and he was ranked a top 50 player. I think he's going to be even better than that, starting from April 26th going on. I'm hoping at least trying to get some fantasy baseball wins. I just think it still just baffles me. We had the first player to be born in the 2000s pitch earlier this season. Vlad Guerrero Jr. just looked up his birthday one day after mine. It feels weird that I'm talking about this guy, but he's just incredible athlete. And
I hear you.
He's going to be great for years to come.
He could be our newest member of the 30-30 club is what I'm thinking, honestly.
Yeah.
He has some speed as well. It's not really evident in his stolen base totals, but you can see just from
27 stolen bases in almost 300 minor league games. I mean, speed's not really his thing.
But I could see him developing that tool. I want to look up a scouting report because I haven't actually gone out of my way to look at them. But generally, stolen bases are sort of in the minor leagues. I feel like they can be inflated once you get to the majors and play a full season with real
have
conditioning.
You met Billy Hamilton when he stole 150 in his final minor league season in 2012?
Really?
Yes, he did.
Okay, maybe I'm a little bit off base.
No. I'm backing up what you just said, that minor league stolen bases they don't mean anything. Because, I mean, Hamilton in his prime was so far in the majors is stealing 50, 60. Not even Ricky Henderson stole 150. I think Ricky topped out at 120. Totally different era. But here's why I'm excited about Vlad. I'm just looking at his stats from last year. Now, granted, he only played 95 games and only had about 350 at-bats. But he only struck out 38 times. If you double that to a 714 at-bat season, which is a little bit more than a full season nowadays, that amounts to, at a maximum, 76 strikeouts. Now, in an era where strikeouts are through the roof, and if we're not there, if we haven't passed it yet, then we're going to. I don't remember if this happened last year or not, where there were more strikeouts than singles. Now, if we're past that, then there's no going back, in my opinion. Strikeouts are so prominent in the game. It's just nice to see somebody who can, I compare him, just give my Yanks some love. DJ LeMahieu. these two guys, they're so good at not striking out. It's a lost art in modern baseball. And the baseball world is going to go nuts if this man has a good debut.
Oh, I think like he's been prepping for this pretty much his whole life. But
as soon as he was given his name.
As soon as he was given his name, we knew he was going to be in the majors. But the one caveat I'm going to put on that is that just how stolen bases in the minors don't mean anything, strikeouts in the minors don't mean a whole lot either.
That's
So
true.
especially like in lower ball, but even in AAA too. You're going to see a lot of pitchers just scared to throw breaking balls whenever they got 2 strikes or whenever they have 3 balls or 2 strikes. In a lot of cases, they just want to try to get that third one past you. But I think he's going to see a heavy dose of those breaking balls. I think even against flamethrowers, whenever he like goes out and plays against the Rays and sees Jose Alvarado, I don't know if necessarily he's going to see fastballs every single time. And I think that could be the one thing that trips him up. But from what I've seen, he's too good a hitter to not make good and not make those adjustments.
Yeah, and I mean, he's going to be, he's debuting tomorrow, April 26th, and the pitcher, the Blue Jays are playing the Oakland A's, and Mike Fiers is on the mound. Now, he doesn't throw that hard, but he's got a wicked curveball. So we'll see.
Be rough.
That's probably the biggest thing that differentiates minor league superstars to major league stars who raked in the minors is minor league superstars can't hit major league breaking balls. I don't care how good of a minor league pitching staff you're facing, major league pitchers live, breathe, and die with great breaking balls. It's going to be a whole nother leap for him.
Oh, yeah.
But I think he can do it. If anybody can do it, he can. I mean, he doesn't stop hitting.
No.
So I finally found a scouting report for him. I was way off base with his speed. He has a 30 grade speed tool, but his hit is 70, his power is 70, and his arm is 70, which I didn't realize. This kid has a cannon for an arm.
These are on scale. These are on scales of 80, by the way. They rank these. I
20 to 80.
They go from 20 to 80 in increments of 5. So 30 speed is pretty bad, but 70 on hit, power, and arm is
That's elite.
That's
elite.
elite for somebody who's 20 and
By the
can
way,
still get better.
Normally, scouting reports are in increments of 5, but for some reason, the one I have pulled up, Baseball Prospectus, is increments of 10.
Well, maybe they just decided that the fair ratings were all in.
No, I use this site.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, they're saying his future projection just overall is an 80 grade, which is the highest you can get. The scouting report afterwards, the first sentence of the overall report is, "This is my eighth season doing this, and Guerrero has the best bat of any prospect I have ever seen." I mean, just to give you some you don't get prospects like this. You get your Ronald Acuñas, you get your Bryce Harpers, but Vlad Guerrero Jr. he's a whole nother level of prospect. The Blue Jays won't be great, and I think you might see a bit of a Mike Trout situation, especially considering their division with the Yankees and the Red Sox, and how well the Rays perform and how analytically inclined they are. But I can see Vlad Guerrero carrying this team to a couple playoff appearances down the line, even without the best core surrounding him.
Oh yeah, definitely down the line. Because I'm not gonna lie to you, the Blue Jays don't look good right now. But hopefully they will do what the Braves are doing, which is building a young core around their superstar talents with the right veterans brought in. The problem for the Blue Jays right now is they're just not good. They don't have good veterans. They don't have good young players. They don't have great young players. Hopefully Vlad turns into one, but I mean,
they do have Freddie Galvis, who in sad news
Mr. Philly fan over
has
here.
just ended his consecutive game played streak at 386. He has a hamstring injury, and he's not going to play. I think he's just been moved to the 10-day DL, but he's not going to play. And I was really getting excited for that. I did already mark my calendar up for May of 2033. Yeah, that is right.
Would that be the day he breaks Cal's
yeah,
streak?
for the day he would break
How
Cal
old is he
Ripken's
going to be
streak.
that day?
It's
45?
53?
53.
I don't know. I've just said that's a random number. But
talking about just unbreakable records, but
yeah.
I mean, that is impressive. I mean, nowadays you see guys getting rest days all the time. You see just about nobody still get a chance to play 162. The second you look slightly injured, you're sitting down for a day. So, I mean, kudos to Freddie Galvis that he managed to keep it going for over 2 seasons worth of games. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Now,
Pretty impressive. That's incredibly impressive.
Yeah,
that's
I
pretty,
mean,
the pretty impressive was meant to be like, yeah, that's pretty.
That's pretty
good.
impressive.
Like that,
yeah.
like, that's
okay, I
pretty
got
impressive.
you. I got you.
Okay.
So, I mean, look, we know about Vlad. We know how great he's going to be. It's written all over the place.
It's written in the stars.
But there's a lot of players that are in Major League Baseball right now that are doing what we think Vlad Jr. is going to do. But people just aren't talking about them. There's a lot of guys who are 2 different levels of degrees. They're carrying their teams right now. I mean, I'm going to jump right on board with this, and I'm going to talk about a guy that I know that might make Ben's blood boil just a little bit. Jeff McNeil. On his division
Disgusting.
Yeah, there you go. Jeff McNeil, they called him up late last year to play some infield. He hit .329 in 63 games. The man hasn't skipped a beat this season, hitting .363. And, on a Mets team where they got the great pitching
The
staff.
way more impressive stat there is the 927 OPS.
I mean, yeah, considering McNeil has 1 home run and he still has, yeah. Well, that's
He's getting on base, and he's also, as much as I hate the guy, he's got a tool that I really, really like, and that's being able to get hit by pitches. He has 5. He's leading the league right now with 5. And through, 23 games? That's really impressive.
Is that a talent?
Yes,
know
it
if that's a
is.
talent.
Yes, it is. People say it's not. It's hard to stand in there and get hit by a pitch. You look at guys like Chase Utley. It's not about crowding the plate. It's not about getting in the pitcher's head. It's just when the ball is coming at you, you turn away and let the ball plunk you in the back. There's not a lot of people that sort of. I'm not sure that it's a talent. Maybe it's a willpower, but there's not a lot of players that I see just turning around and letting the ball hit them. I really like that in a player.
I mean, there's also you have to keep in mind that the rule with that kind of thing is that you have to put in a noticeable effort to get out of the way. You can't purposely get hit. So I mean, I just think that's a combination of luck and just where he stands at the plate. But McNeil's my first guy. He's only 27. He's batting .363, and you got Wilson Ramos raking out of the gate for them. You got Pete Alonso, Ahmed Rosario, Conforto, Nimmo. You got all these other guys. Jeff McNeil just needs a little extra
primed
love.
for a collapse down later in the season. The dog days of August.
Mr. Philly fan
I
over
was
here.
like, speaking
Primed
of the
for a
Phillies.
collapse.
Who's your guy?
My guy?
Yeah, who's your guy?
Oh, Mike Alfranco.
Yeah, I didn't see
Oh
that.
my God, huge breakout! I've been hyping Mike Alfranco for the last for the last couple weeks. I actually just traded Matt Carpenter and Mad Bum for him on fantasy, along with Blake Trinan, so it's not quite as bad. But this man,
Not a great
not
a great trade.
Okay,
That
I
was
I
said-
know.
was
I
said in
promise
this out of
you,
the room.
at absolute worst, this trade is gonna break even. At absolute worst, that's what I see happening. Mike Alfranco's OPS is, you know what? I have his OBP and slugging pulled up
His
right now.
OPS is 905.
I know that, but I want to pull up his OPS from last year, see what the difference is.
780.
Yeah, so that's a 125-point difference in OPS, but his BABIP has dropped by 37 points. If that doesn't scream breakout, I don't know what does. His hard hit rate is up. His soft
Wait, it
hit,
dropped 37 points?
yes, his BABIP is actually down 37 points.
That's bad. Batting
no.
average on balls in play, don't you want that to be high?
Well, no, batting average and balls in play isn't an indicator of whether a player is succeeding or not. It's generally an indicator of luck. The higher your BABIP is, the more lucky you are. The lower your BABIP is, the more unlucky you are. And generally, you'll regress to your career average. And Mike Alfranco's career average BABIP is 261. So that means his BABIP is probably going to end up near 261 by the end of the season, which means that he's only going to regress to being better from here on out.
Regress to being better.
Yeah,
a what a
he's
turn of
got to
phrase.
regress to
That
the
is
mean.
that is quite the phrase right there.
He's regressing to the mean, but the mean is up.
Yeah, I mean, it's only 24 games, and his track record through his career numbers, he's not going to keep this up.
I don't know, Multi.
He also has a negative WAR right now, just to let you know.
Well, that's because of his defense, which is totally
sucks.
Yeah, it's bad. He has no range. He has the range of like
The
a.
Phillies have too many players that they need to put on first base.
Yeah.
But there's only one first base.
And plus, in like 4 or 5 years, Harper's going to be a first baseman as well. It's not going to be.
You hope not.
Turn Franco into a catcher. No, who needs Real
Turn
Mutual?
Harper into a catcher.
Yeah.
I mean, he used to be a catcher.
Harper?
Yeah, he used to be a catcher. He
Yeah,
came
but
up
he
as
was
a
like
catcher.
17,
True. Yes. Fair.
which is like 10 years ago.
The other thing about Maikel Franco is his walk rate has doubled and his strikeout rate has halved. Last year, his strikeout
Through
rate.
24 games, though.
I know, but
That's-
still, you cannot deny that a 7.1 strikeout
It's-
rate is elite.
No, it's a good.
That's
it's a
Placido
good.
Polanco.
It's a good start. It's a good start, but we got a long way to go.
We do have a long season ahead of us.
Jacob, who's your man?
Well, if Ben gets to choose somebody from the Phillies, then
Of course, go right ahead.
Of course, I'm going to talk about Paul
Who's the
DeYoung.
Cardinal?
We're going to talk about Paul DeYoung right here.
Love this
And
man.
It's his third full season. He's like coming back, and last year wasn't great for him. He batted 241, 313 OP on base percentage. He had a 746 OPS. Like, he had decent numbers.
He could do better.
He could certainly do better. He was top 3 in Rookie of the Year voting in 2017. But coming out of the gates here, he's just on fire. He's batting 343 on the year, 398 on base percentage, a 1024 OPS. Man's already hit 5 home runs and 99 at bats. And I think one of the more impressive things is that still only 19 strikeouts. Especially like strikeout rate we've talked about is up everywhere. But especially on the Cardinals, we've been striking out like it's nobody's business. We've been striking out like you're getting paid for it. But Paul DeYoung is one of those guys who actually turned it around and is now striking out less than he did per at bat last
Almost
season.
8% less.
Yeah, he's made some adjustments. You can definitely tell him at the plate. But I mean, a top 10 batting average, and in his last 7 games, he's what? I have the stats pulled up right here. Last 7 games, he's batting .419, just 1 home run. I think that's huge for him, being able to just get on base, especially batting in the lineup after Paul Goldschmidt. Just being able to reset the table and let Marcelo Ozuna hit him in.
I mean, what's crazy for me about DeYoung is that half of his hits are for extra bases. He's got 34 hits. Of those 34, 11 doubles, a triple, and 5 home runs.
The one thing that really worries me about Paul DeYoung is that I'm going to go back to, these quirky little advanced stats over here, but his BABIP is 100 points higher than it was last season. That's not sustainable. You cannot go a full season with a 387 BABIP. He's going to regress. I'm not sure how much because his hard hit rate is way up from last year. His hard hit rate right now is 50%. That is elite from last year's 38%. And I think that also is primed to regress, but I think he's going to have a much better year than he did last year.
Oh.
He's going to have a good season. I don't think he's going to sustain his level that he's at right now, but he's certainly going to have a good season.
He'll probably end up around where his rookie year was.
I'd say
I don't-
around there. I think
He
hot
could.
take.
I believe he could do better.
If I'm putting out hot takes here, I think the Cardinals are going to end up having 2 guys top 10 NL MVP voting.
Him and Goldschmidt.
I think him and Goldschmidt, or maybe
Really?
maybe him and Carpenter and Goldschmidt. Some combination of those 3. I think 2 of them are going to end up top 10.
You know what? That's a reasonable take because it's. Oh, come on.
It's pretty.
Paul Goldschmidt's been
Okay,
top
Paul
10
Goldschmidt,
since 2013.
I would
Where did Carpenter finish last year?
I would be
Carpenter
surprised.
was 6 last year, 5 or 6, I think.
Okay. Now, I mean, Carpenter has begun slowly to get out of the funk he's been in for the season.
Yeah.
So he was ninth.
Traded
He
him
was
at the
ninth in
perfect
MVP
time.
last year.
9th?
Yeah, he was not.
Oh.
But that's top 10. That's
Still top 10.
That's top 10. Where was Goldschmidt? Goldschmidt.
He
was
was
six.
probably like 4. Six.
Goldschmidt was
Okay.
6.
All right.
So you had 9 and 6 last year. Who's to say Goldschmidt doesn't finish 6 again? And Carpenter can do that again. I could see DeYoung in there. If DeYoung hits like around that 280s mark and he manages to get up to 30 home runs and keep this pace of extra base hits, there's no reason he shouldn't finish top 10 in MVP because that's the top 10 MVP season.
You know what? I could agree with top 20, top 15. Goldschmidt is of course going to be top 10.
Yeah.
I can see 2 or 3 other guys maybe getting votes, but this is a heavily contested National League this year. I don't think you're going to beat out I'm going to start naming these guys off the top of my head, and I'm immediately going to be crucified because I forget a couple of them. But, they're not all going to be ahead of Yelich and Bellinger and Turner. And see, I'm at 3, and I'm already forgetting.
Bryce?
Yeah, see, of
I-
course.
I thought you were gonna just go straight. to,
I was
I
waiting.
thought I was
I
gonna
was
go
waiting
straight
to
to
hear
Bryce.
Bryce. I
Yeah.
can't believe you forgot.
You know, I don't think I'm great at just naming players off the top of my head, but I don't see there's too many good players in the National League for Paul DeYoung to finish 10th.
we'll see.
Well,
You know
we'll
what?
see.
When we're coming back in September and October,
Yeah.
we're gonna have
Machado.
we're gonna have a whole different line of baseball conversations to have, and I'm sure every week, started when we come back next fall, every week is gonna be centered around everybody's MVP cases and all that stuff.
Yeah, well, we'll see. We'll see come late in the season. I do also want to bring up, just while we're on this topic,
Yeah.
a guy I mentioned a little bit earlier in the show, Jose Alvarado. He and Diego Castillo are just having fantastic years at the back end of that Rays bullpen. I just think that's been
That
I was
whole Rays pitching staff.
that whole Rays pitching staff's been incredible. But the bullpen was the one thing where you're like, well, maybe like you don't really know who's going to come out of it. But between the two of them, they're 6 for 6 on save attempts. They have a combined WHIP of less than 1.1 if you add them together. Alvarado, especially 4 for 4 on saves. He's allowed just 2 earned runs in 11.1 innings. He's got 2 losses to his name because of those, but 2 holds to. And opponents are batting 184 against him.
He has the most ridiculous left-handed two-seam fastball. It's
Incredible.
It's a left-handed Jordan Hicks, just slower.
Yeah, I mean, and,
And
not
by
even
slower,
that
I mean not 104, but like
he's averaging, I think,
98.
I think he's averaging 99 on the season.
And I'm looking at the vertical movement on some of his pitches. His fastball has the most vertical movement of any of his pitches. More so than what's the difference between SL and SL? Sinker and slider, that's what it is. One of them is an I. But yeah, his fastball has 10 inches of vertical movement. That's unheard of. I mean, that is just a nasty, unhittable pitch.
Whatever he's doing, it's working, man.
Oh,
It's
my
working.
God. For sure.
Yeah,
He's
I
been
mean,
holding down my pitching staff, my relief pitching staff in one of my fantasy leagues too.
I
so-
gotta-
And that slider
happens for
has 10 inches of vertical movement as well. Or horizontal movement, excuse me.
in the fantasy league, the three of us are, and I got Alvarado, and he is coming.
He's pumping it.
He is coming through just fine for me. So, here's my next take, and this one's not a player. This one's a team, because despite the fact that this team got gutted of its franchise superstar, offensively they have not skipped a beat, and I'm talking about the Arizona Diamondbacks. Paul Goldschmidt got traded to the Cardinals. Jake Lamb was injured. Two of their best power hitters, 2 of their best hitters are down or gone.
Up 5-0 right now on the Pirates, by the way. Also
there you-
doing very well.
And there you go.
Let's go.
I mean, this Diamondbacks offense has arguably
Transitioned really well.
they've arguably gotten better at scoring runs. They are 3rd in the National League in runs scored. They're a lone run behind Jacobs Cardinals and 8 runs behind the LA Dodgers. And if you stack them up against the American League, there's only one American League team that has more runs than them, and it's the Mariners, who are still scoring runs like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, and their run differential supports it. To
It's
being
plus
entirely
19.
yeah. Well, it's plus 19, and their Pythagorean is 14-11, and they are 14-11.
so
They're beating the Pirates 5-0 right now, which would also support another win to their Pythagorean.
Yeah, I mean they're sticking with it, and I mean look, there's a couple of guys on there who are who are veterans. They're big leaguers. We know what we're gonna get out of them. Adam Jones.
He was unsigned until like late in spring training.
It's
wasn't he?
It's criminal that he wasn't signed until the middle of March. He somehow, some way was I don't think he missed any time. I think he was ready for opening day. He's hitting .302 with 5 home runs. David Peralta, he's been the heart of my fantasy team lately. He's killing it for me. But on the year, he's hitting .330. He's got 12 doubles. He has 12 doubles, 17 ribbies. Eduardo Escobar, a deadline acquisition last year, hitting .290 with a couple of bombs. Christian Walker.
Who would have thought Christian Walker, of all people, with an OPS above 1,000, 7 home runs?
I mean, this is a guy who's gotten tastes of the big leagues going all the way back to 2014 when he was on Baltimore. He's 28 years old. With Goldschmidt gone and Jake Lamb hurt, this guy's gotten his chance. And he's
played less than 50 or less than 60 games. Sorry,
he's
before
proven
this year.
He's proven it. I mean, he's batting .333. He's got 7 bombs and 14 RBIs. I mean, I just think I don't think the Diamondbacks are not playoff contenders. Besides Zach Greinke, who's slowly but surely been getting better with each start on the year, besides him, there's nobody else you can really trust in that rotation.
Robbie Ray?
Robbie Ray's
I like Robbie Ray. He's
he's okay, but
I think he's better than okay. I think he is, one of those.
He was
guys
good in
who can-
2017.
but he's one of those guys who you can consistently send out there and sort of expect a decent start.
Yeah.
He's had one bad season in 2016, but even last year, he wasn't great per se with a 3.93 ERA. Only had 24 starts, but you can send him out there and you can expect 6 innings. You can expect 3 or less runs. He's one of those guys.
Quite literally, you can't expect 3 or less runs. His ERA is almost at 4.
Well, exactly.
You quite literally can't.
Well, 3 runs over 6 innings is a 4.5 ERA.
Oh.
You can expect 3 runs. I don't mean 3 runs over 9, but that would be seriously impressive. But
Yeah, I mean, and
Look,
the rest of the rotation's not awful. They got Luke Weaver
It's
from the
just
Cardinals in that Goldschmidt trade, which
my point was just that it's
Great,
not
but-
trustworthy.
But yeah, no. I mean, if the bottom of your rotation is Luke Weaver and Zach Godley, it's not fantastic.
And something named Merrill Kelly,
something?
someone.
Something.
Someone. I mean,
I've never
no,
heard of him.
That was just meant to be like, who on earth is Merrill
Yeah,
Kelly? and
never
where did he-
never pitched 1 inning in the majors before this season.
How many years he was?
He's a 30-year-old.
He was in the minor. He was in the minor. He was in the Rays system from 2010 to 14.
Yeah, he's been with the SK Wyverns of the Korean baseball organization from 2015 through 18. Not even great in Korea, which, to be entirely fair, is a very, very hitter-centric league.
Anyway, my point is just that the Diamondbacks are 14-11 because their offense is on fire. But I just feel like it's not getting enough love. I mean, as I've said a couple of times in the last minute, their pitching staff's not great. They're not going to go. They're probably not going to contend for the playoffs. It's a long shot for them. But you'd think after losing your franchise player that this team would slow down offensively, and they're heating up. They are 4th in the major leagues in runs scored. They have more runs scored than 14 American League teams. I love this lineup.
Oh yeah,
It's a great lineup.
I mean, to go along with that hitting, I'm just putting out there small sample size, but Zach Greinke's 5 for 10 on the year. Or sorry, no,
You're right.
Yeah, he's 5 for 10 on the year. 2 of those hits are home runs.
And
He
2
has
are
one-
doubles.
He has one
2 are
single.
doubles.
And he's
see,
the
this-
he has the highest OPS in the majors right now, 1.845.
This is why I love Zach
Ridiculous.
Greinke. He's still a serviceable starting pitcher, but
Best hitter on the team.
he rakes. He rakes.
He's
They're
got that
pitching-
dumb haircut.
He's been. I know. I hate that. You know what? You know what? I'm gonna talk about this. This is not my rant for today's episode. This is gonna be 30 seconds. Zach Greinke has shifted between having the California Beach Boy hair and having normal hair. It's been on and off. 2015 with the Dodgers, he had it. 16 and 17 with the Diamondbacks, he didn't. He brought it back in 18, and he still got it. Zach, cut the hair. It doesn't look good.
It's not.
I like long
It's not
hair.
quite a mullet. It's like shaved on the sides, but just real long in the back.
I really like that. That's what I used to rock back when I was in Little League. I did that just so I could sort of wear the baseball cap and have long poofy hair coming out the back. I love that.
Yeah, I don't like it. It just doesn't
I don't
look
know.
good.
It's fiery.
Okay, that's it. That's it about Greinke's hair. Anybody
Enough about Zach Greinke's hair. God.
Anybody else have any underrated players that are killing it or teams? Anybody else got anything? Bueller?
I mean, wow.
Walker Bueller?
No.
I know he's
No,
not exactly
yeah.
underrated.
I was gonna
anymore,
say,
but
please tell me you got that reference.
no, of course I got that.
Okay,
reference.
okay, good.
Jesus,
Just
Nelson.
hey,
don't question me.
I'm just
don't
making.
question me.
No,
Mulkey.
I'm not questioning anybody. I'm just
God,
making
wow.
sure. I'm just making sure.
Just evolved. But no, I mean, might as well talk about the Pirates since they're getting smacked right now by the Diamondbacks. But the Pirates are having a real good year, which is, I don't know, just kind of shocking to say given, who the Pirates are.
Yeah, I mean, I at the time when I, made up a list of all the teams and players I wanted to talk about, the Pirates, I think, were 12-7 when I wrote up to put them on the list. At the time, that was the best record in all of baseball,
They
winning
also-
percentage-wise.
yeah.
They've just happened to, they dropped the final game against the San Francisco Giants, and they are in the 4th game of a 4-game set against the Diamondbacks. And I'm sorry, they're getting absolutely schmacked by the Diamondbacks offense. They've been outscored. Let's see, they lost 12-4 in the first game, 2-1 in the second, and 11-2 yesterday, and they're losing 5-0 today.
Yeah, and the other thing about the Pirates is that they're sort of doing it without any of their key players. They have 11 injuries. Gregory Polanco has played in 2 games. Corey Dickerson is injured and has played in 4 games. Francisco Cervelli has a 477 OPS. Jungho Gang, who is just an awful human being.
El Criminal.
Yeah, 659 OPS. Starling Marte injured. Melky Cabrera. They do have Josh Bell, to be entirely fair. He's raking.
Yeah, I'm checking out the numbers real quick here along with you. He's the only starting player who's really hitting. But I mean, the Pirates are where they are because
their pitching staff.
They are the polar opposite of the Diamondbacks. And you'd think great pitching is supposed to be able to stop great hitting. The Diamondbacks are here to tell you, nope. They've allowed 84 runs on the year, which is the second fewest in the National League, to the Cincinnati Reds. The Reds, I'm sorry to cut you off. The Reds have a positive run differential, and they're in last place. The 2 teams above them are negative.
Yeah, the Pirates are 12-10, and they have a -9 run differential. It's going to be a lot bigger after this game.
I think the Reds are going to be a good team by the end of the year. Once their hitting sort of wakes up, once Yasiel Puig finds his stroke, once Matt Kemp comes back from the DL, he might actually be pretty bad. I don't know. Eugenio Suarez, Eugenio, I think is how it's pronounced.
Yeah.
He's going to be pretty good. I really like Jesse Winker. I've liked him ever since he's a prospect. Yeah. No, it's not that he's a great contact hitter. It's that he's got an elite eye.
That too.
He's not the next Joey Votto per se, but
he does happen to be on the same team as him.
Yeah.
Look, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, like, backing up just a little bit, Ben. I took offense whenever you said Melky Cabrera like that.
Melky Cabrera.
Are you telling me Melky Cabrera isn't the best player in the majors?
I love them.
Cabrera
I love them. I love me some Melk, man.
You tell me right
double-A
now.
fodder.
You're just saying that.
I am just saying that.
Yeah, I mean,
Melky Cabrera. Look,
he's fun.
He is fun.
I don't like the Pirates. I think it's fun that Melky's got another shot.
I can't believe he's only 34 years old.
Is he really?
He's been in the majors since 2005.
He's been around for. I can't remember a time when Melky Cabrera wasn't playing.
That's literally me. I mean, I thought he was like 36 or 37. I didn't realize he's. I mean, for somebody who started their career in 2005
with the Yankees.
Yeah,
I should say.
Oh yeah, he won a World Series in 2009 against a certain team that the person sitting to my left likes.
Yeah.
No, okay, my point. Melky's still going. I mean, he's hitting
299.
He's batting 299. He's still raking.
I wouldn't say raking.
He's hitting 299.
He can slap singles. His OPS is below league average by 5%.
So what? He's hitting 299. Just
batting average is not an end-all, be-all stat.
I know.
It's really overrated.
I know. I do not want to get into a statistics argument with you right now.
Yeah, no one ever wants to get. But the milkman
is still raking. He's still going. I love it.
He hit a home run. I think that's good enough.
Home run.
And he stole a base. That's all you need to do.
I would not.
He has not been caught stealing.
Not been caught stealing.
But I mean,
that's all you need.
The Pirates are such an underratedly good pitching staff right now. I mean, Trevor Williams, he's essentially a junk baller, but he knows how to get guys out. Joe Musgrove's been strong. Jameson Taillon's been strong. Chris Archer is showing signs of returning to the form the Rays hoped that they were getting. I mean, them and the Cincinnati Reds just make no sense to me because they're in a division with 3 teams that, when they're right, are probably the 3 best offenses in the National League. Or 3 of the top 5. 3 of the top 5 best offenses in the National League are teams that they play a total of 57 times in a season. You're contrasting that with, statistically, the 2 teams in the National League that have given up the fewest runs. It's so strange. I mean, Pittsburgh's given up only 84. Cincinnati has only given up 77 runs. Their problem is they can't score enough runs. The Reds are, where are they at? They've got the 4th fewest runs scored in the National League, behind the Giants, the Pirates, and then the Miami Marlins. We don't have to talk about them, but
no.
I love the NL Central right now because
it's gonna be fun to watch.
Cincinnati's run differential tells you that they're way better than a 9-14 team. The Pirates are proving they can hang around. The Brewers, Cubs, and Cardinals are all raking offensively, but I'm sure this would warm your heart, Jacob. It's warming my heart. Milwaukee is Milwaukee's pitching staff is a dumpster fire right now.
Why,
Oh.
what do you have against the Brewers?
Brewers
I
are
just-
bad.
I
They're
hate
just
the-
not
I
a
hate
good-
the-
They're
I-
not a good baseball team.
What's wrong with it?
I hate the Brewers.
They're such a sort of like happy, fun little bunch of guys.
Oh,
No,
certainly not.
they were a one-hit wonder last year, and I said it. I remember in our predictions episode, I hyped down the Milwaukee Brewers.
you don't you don't like Christian Yelich?
Nobody.
How do you
Sorry,
not like
I-
Christian?
I don't have
Yelich.
anything. I don't have any. Jacob might be a little different because he's a
Yeah.
Cardinals fan.
I at least
I personally-
understand that.
I don't have any-
What's wrong with you?
I don't have anything against any of the players on the team. I just don't want the Brewers to do well.
Why?
Because
Why?
I want any other team in that division to.
But why the Brewers specifically? Why don't you like the Brewers?
Because I don't think they deserve to be there.
No.
Well,
They have a terrible. They have a awful pitching staff.
fair.
And
They
other-
did just pick up Gio Gonzalez
Oh,
from the Yankees.
The game changer.
He was great for them last year.
Yeah, when he pitched
Gio,
to one batter.
Gio is gonna be good. Like he's gonna help solidify that staff. But no, I hate the Brewers. Craig Counsell. No, who
Oh, they do have Fat
even
Albers.
likes Craig Counsell?
I can't believe you just said that. I love you.
Fat Albers.
Fat Albers.
Oh, of
Matt
course.
Albers.
I'm
so glad somebody else calls him that.
Fat
I
Albers.
feel a little less bad now.
No, but seeing that the Brewers are 13-13, they're 3 games out of first behind the Cardinals, who have the best record in the National League, but playing at 500 ball with a -14 run differential just makes my day.
And the thing with the Brewers is that, offensively this team was supposed to stay strong, and they have. They're scoring a ton of runs, but even Josh Hader's off to a slow start. I mean, I know, especially with relief pitchers, you really can't judge these kind of things right out of the gate.
Yeah.
He's
12
but
innings. I mean, you can barely judge a relief pitcher off of 50 innings.
You really can't. You can't really judge relief pitchers correctly with a lot of the stats that we have. But the point is that he's a little off out of the gate, and the rest of the bullpen's going to crumble down starting with Hader. It's going to crumble down underneath him. The only guy on that team who was doing well was Junior Guerra, who's currently on the bereavement list, so that doesn't look good. But, it warms my heart to see. I've always liked the Cardinals. My sister went to college in St. Louis, so I was in St. Louis
There we go.
for a few years. The Cardinals kind of grew to become my second favorite team, and I love to see them doing well. And according to the transitive property, both based on my personal preference and being and having the Cardinals as my number 2, I like seeing the Brewers do badly.
Yeah.
I like seeing the Brewers not doing
Yankees
well.
Could we
Cardinals
just
fan.
tie that one up?
What kind of disgusting freak are you?
What kind of disgusting freak are you, Mr. Phillies Red Sox?
But I at least have. Okay, you know what? You have a
No,
reason to.
don't even.
But the Phillies are.
Let's agree to disagree
cannot
on this.
Possibly say that the Phillies are as bad as either of the Cardinals or the Yankees.
Let's agree to disagree on this.
No,
My-
how are the
wait, we
how are
gotta-
the Phillies
okay, so let's
as
get-
bad as either?
let's
of the,
let's get a third party opinion. Whose combination of fandoms is worse?
Oh,
Cardinals, You're
I
a
mean, like-
Cardinals fan.
yeah, I hate the Red Sox slightly more than I hate the Yankees. But I don't know. The Cardinals Yankees just doesn't make sense to me. Just be like
they're
just
the two
long-
most successful
yeah, like-
franchises of all time.
It feels very like cherry picking-y, but it's also like just the history of like how many World Series have we seen between the Cardinals and Yankees. I mean, not in our lifetimes, but just overall.
No.
Yeah, and it's
No,
like
no, no.
my family has been Red Sox fans since 1975.
Mm.
We were part of the curse. I mean, I'm not a Red Sox fan because they're good. I'm a Red Sox fan because they're bad or because they were bad.
I mean, you can say because they're bad, but like 04 and 2013 weren't too great for St. Louis either. But but yeah, no, I really don't like the Red Sox. Don't like the Phillies that much. I don't know. It's always like something about Ryan Howard's nose just kind of like threw me off.
Ryan Howard's nose?
Do you see how big that thing is?
Look at Jared Dudley. You don't watch basketball. Never mind. I can't say anything about that.
Right.
Neither of you guys watch basketball.
Oh my
no.
God, oh man.
I mean, how many years in a
nose.
row did we see the Cardinals and Phillies meet up somewhere in the playoffs?
Once.
It felt like more than once.
Pretty sure it was just
But-
2011, right? Wasn't
No.
it?
Was it just?
It was just
had to be
2011.
it had to be more than just.
No, it was just
2011.
2011.
They didn't meet up
I'm
in
100%
06?
sure. No, the
Or
Phillies didn't
04?
make the playoffs in 06 or 04. Phillies made the playoffs in 07, 08, 09.
Yeah, Cardinals
10
didn't
and
make it in 07 or 08.
They
Yeah.
did
That's
make
wild.
it. They did make it in 08, didn't they?
No, the Cubs won the division that year.
Yeah,
I'm
that
thinking-
was like
no,
the,
that was 2009. I'm thinking. Of
You want to ask me about baseball between 2010 and 2007, I will tell you everything you need to know.
I
Do you
don't
want to hear
doubt
about Christian Guzman, Austin Carnes,
I'm still
Ryan Church, Damian Easley?
I still have to pinch myself every once in a while just to make sure that Phillies Rays World Series happened.
Yeah,
Oh,
really.
that was so out of
that's
I didn't
such
believe
a
that one.
strange.
That was
I
out of
think I was
hand.
looking at like World Series like viewership ratings, and I think that World Series is one of the worst of all time.
Yeah, it just feels like it shouldn't have.
Yeah, I mean the thing is, it
feels
was
like it shouldn't
It
have
only went 5 games, but if you look at like the games themselves, it was a really great World Series. I mean, that final game went down to 1 run. There were like 3 or 4 different lead changes. There was the rain delay in the middle of the game that postponed Game 5 for 2 days. You guys do not know what it's like
What?
to be. Yeah, they called Game 6 for 2 days in the 6th inning. There was
feels like a
no
fever
baseball. Can you imagine what it's like?
That doesn't seem legal.
No, that was the first time that has ever happened in postseason history. Can you imagine what it's like to be in the middle of a World Series clinching game and then suddenly it stops for 2 days? The fact that I made it through that is a miracle. Even at 9 years old, the fact that I was able to do that to myself and didn't just toss myself out a window.
That's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
2008 was just a fever dream.
Yeah,
I don't
the
believe it
Phillies
happened.
steamrolled the
The whole
playoffs
year.
that year.
That
They
was
went
the-
11-3.
That was the 1 year of that decade that the Yankees were horrible. So that was a
I remember
Then
watching
they got
the-
back next year.
I mean, yeah. But
But-
that was after they dropped the net worth of half the countries in the world on free agents. Anyway,
But yeah,
with that sigh, let's wrap this one up. I know everybody's got a lot they want to get off their chest. So who'd like to go first?
well, I mean, if y'all guys are looking at me, I'll take it.
I don't know.
All
I
right.
went first last time. I just wasn't going to
Okay.
go first
Yeah,
again.
you're good.
Okay.
Continuing with the theme of being a homer, as we do here at Fair Foul. But I just want to talk about how the Cardinals have won 5 in a row. We just swept the Brewers. We already just kind of dismantled the entire city of Milwaukee. But seeing the Cardinals sweep the Brewers just really, I don't want to use the phrase warms my heart. 'Cause you already used that, Melty, but just makes me so happy to see that not only did we get a sweep on our home field, but that was against the Milwaukee Brewers, bringing our record against teams who are above 500 to 14-8 on the season, which
You've
is
played that many games against winning teams?
only 2 of our games haven't been against winning teams.
That's
I
impressive.
think it's ridiculous. We had the Cardinals have had such a difficult schedule, but the fact that we've been able to do that well so far, have best record in the National League, we've won our last 5, 7-3 in our last 10, and a plus 33 run differential, which is I think second best in the majors.
Yep. Just behind them Rays.
Everything's just gonna be a caveat with excluding Tampa.
Yeah.
You got
pretty much.
everyone else, but no, I think I just wanted to bring attention to that. Talk about how good the Cardinals are doing, so that whenever we see Paul DeYoung regress to the mean, whenever we see Matt Carpenter just have an awful May because that's what he does now, we'll be able to come back, listen to this, and talk about when the Cardinals were good.
All right. I'm going to talk about a relief pitcher on my Yankees. Now, the Yankees bullpen was supposed to be the strength of the team. It was supposed to be the most intimidating part of the team. And so far, it has been the healthiest part of the team when you compare it to half the starting lineup being injured and the starting rotation having its issues early on. And the Yankees bullpen has had a lot of guys doing well out of the gate. Aroldis Chapman's looking good. Adam Ottavino's looking pretty solid. Zach Britton's looking good. Tommy Kahnle, Luis Sessa, they're both looking really good out of the gate. There's one man I haven't mentioned, and his name is Chad Green. 2 years ago, Chad Green broke onto the scene with a fastball that nobody could touch. And then I truly believe that his entire slow, gradual descent to where he is now all began when Francisco Lindor took him deep for a grand slam in the playoffs.
That is one of the greatest baseball calls of all time, man.
That is one of the worst managerial choices of all time by
Matt
Joe Girardi.
Vasgersian's scream. Like, the thing is, he didn't really make a call. It's like Lindor with a swing and a drive. Oh!
And it is gone! Santa Maria!
The classic Matt Vasgersian. I'd love that just for the call, not just because it's against the Yankees, but Matt Vasgersian just
So yeah,
he gets so excited.
He does. But since then, so then 2018, Chad Green was still pretty good, but he took a noticeable step back from the previous year. He was a lot more hittable. And then this year, he gave up 21 earned runs in 75 2/3 innings in 2018. In 10% of that, less than 10% of that, 7 2/3 innings in 2019, he's given up 14.
Mostly, I don't know why you're comparing him to 2018, because in 2017, he also gave up 14 runs, except that one was over 69 innings.
Okay, fine. That's fair. I'm just saying, because I don't think whatever voodoo Chad Green had working for him in 2017 only lasted for that season. And Green has gotten himself demoted to the minors. Now, when you have an ERA, I realize he's a reliever, but nevertheless, when you have an ERA of 16.43, you got to do something. Something ain't right.
Yeah, I was just looking for his stats in the Yankees pitching stats, and I just look at the bottom of the list on ERA, and I found him.
17.6 hits per 9, 4.7 homers per 9, 4.7 walks per 9.
10.03 FIP. Generally when your FIP is 6 below your ERA, 6 full points. That sounds like there should be a pretty big issue, and that something is you're getting unlucky. But I don't think he's getting unlucky here. I just think he's bad.
Right now, I mean, look, the 6-run difference would tell you that you're just unlucky. Except when the difference is between 16 and 10. If you're pitching like your ERA should be 10, you're still awful. Now, I hope for Chad Green's sake that he figures it out, because in the previous 2 years, he was probably one of the 3 most vital relief pitchers on that team, probably behind Aroldis Chapman and Dellin Betances. So I hope he figures it out, and when he comes back, he gives up 0 runs, so his ERA looks just as good as it did in the previous 2 years.
Maybe he can Hector Neris it.
Who knows?
Which brings me to my point on, of course, the Philadelphia Phillies. There's been a little bit of a saga going on with the Phillies and the Mets recently. That doesn't make me... It couldn't really make me any happier, because one of the things that's been missing from my life the past couple of years is a Phillies-Mets rivalry. I love that rivalry, and I have friends in Philly now who are like, oh, yeah, I don't mind the Mets. They're a good, young, fun team. But no. If you are a Phillies fan, you have to hate the Mets. That is a mandate. You cannot possibly even think the Mets are just okay. So to bring you back to the start of this story, a couple weeks ago the Mets were playing the Phillies in Philadelphia. It's the top of the ninth inning, excuse me, and the bases are loaded, and Hector Neris hits 2 guys to bring in 2 runs, and of course, that's unintentional. You don't hit 2 guys in the 9th to bring in runs. What? In what situation, in what world is that intentional? But for some reason, the Mets take something out of that. And then 2 nights ago, it's 9-0 in the top of the 9th. The Phillies are getting blown the F out. And Jacob Rhame comes in the 9th against Rhys Hoskins with, I think, 1 out. And he throws a 2-strike pitch clear over his head. Like a 95-mile-an-hour fastball. It doesn't just graze near his head. It goes over and behind his head. And Hoskins is rightly pissed. 3 pitches later, he throws at his head again. And Hoskins, the benches sort of file out. They don't come fully onto the field, but the players are standing, warnings are issued, and the game ends like that. Last night in the 9th, the Phillies are up 4-0, and for some reason, Mickey Callaway, being the smartest manager that he is, decides to bring in Jacob Rhame to face Rhys Hoskins again. And Rhys Hoskins goes and he hits a little bit of a moon shot to left field, just a little tiny little moon shot. And Rhys Hoskins starts jogging the bases. And let me tell you, that home run trot is the slowest since 2010 when they started tracking that for non-injured players. That trot was a solid 4 seconds slower than Bartolo Colon. When you are showing up the Mets with a trot that is slower than Bartolo Colon, you are doing something right, my friend Rhys Hoskins. I cannot wait for the next time the Phillies face the Mets, which is sadly not until June. But I can guarantee I will be at that game, and I will be on the edge of my seat waiting for that brawl. Rhys Hoskins, my friend, please charge the mound. Nothing would make me happier.
Oh, there's clearly some beef going on there. So we're just about ready to wrap up episode 7. I think we are all very excited to see what Vladimir Guerrero Jr. is going to bring in the opening weekend of his major league career. And I would just like to wrap up with this. Zach Greinke is pitching today. He has another hit, and it's not a single. He's got his first triple.
Oh, my God. He's hit for the pitcher cycle.
Greinke is
like what?
6 hits.
11 at-bats into the season?
Yep. Zach Greinke is cruising 6 shutout innings so far against the Pirates. Add on to that, he's 6 scoreless, 2 hits, 1 walk, 5 Ks. Add on to that, he's 1 for 3 with a triple and a run scored. Zach Greinke, I love you.
So his batting average dropped a little bit.
It did. He's down to 462, but
Not quite 500.
not
quite.
No, and unfortunately, his pitch count's a little too high. He's not going to bat again. But my God, I hope Zach Greinke never retires. I love this guy.
2 homers, a triple, 2 doubles, and a single.
That's just not
Ridiculous.
It's a shame he's 35 because I would want to see him do this for years on end.
He could be the next Jamie Moyer. I could see him pitching until he's like 47, 48. He's that kind of guy.
If
I mean,
he
it's just unfortunate that he spent the majority of his 20s pitching for the crap Royals in the American League,
Where he couldn't hit.
his best offense, his best potential for offense seasons were wasted by those poor Royals.
He was actually my elementary art school teacher's nephew, if I remember correctly. I remember she used to tell me about that back in 2008. And whenever a male that walked into the room that I didn't know, I assumed it was Zach Greinke. So I met Zach Greinke in 4-year-old Ben's mind like 6 or 7 times.
Love that.
Love that story. That's a great way to end our show this time. We'll be right back here next week for our next episode. Until then, for Ben and Jacob, Daniel Maltz here. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you soon.